So I've been in the hospital in and out for 21 years of my life, and there's a couple things that I do miss about the hospital. Now, one of them is that there's always order in the hospital. So you go in, you have an appointment, you get in at a certain time, you're pretty much out at a certain time. And the whole structure of the hospital and the fact that there's just order and there's a schedule and a way process of the way they do things. You have your breakfast in the morning, you have your lunch, your dinner, and everything's on point, everything's on schedule, so the way the hospital can run nice and smoothly. There's an order, there's like positions, you have a nurse and you have somebody above that, and then you have the doctors, and you have, there's just so many people that they have an order and structure way they go about things. So you can't just do as you please and do what you want, and even the doctors or even the nurses, they have a certain instructions that they must obey. And you as a patient, you have to go along with that as well, so that way the hospital goes nice and smooth. Nobody's not getting their medicine. Nobody's not dying or anything like that. And so I really enjoyed that, and it's something that I do miss about the hospital. And I did take it with me out of the hospital. I'm kind of institutionalized in that way, where I gotta have a structure and order. I like to have things that are done at a certain time, done in a certain way. Now I'm not as I used to be as strict as I once was, because I kind of to simmer down on that. It's not really something. In the hospital, people were, lives were at stake, so it's more serious. Whereas your day to day life, it's good to have order, but you don't have to take it to that level. And another thing I missed was the unique people. So I met so many people with so many severe disorders and diseases and what have you, that I got used to, meeting so much unique people and their situation in life and how they did things. People in wheelchairs, people without wheelchairs, people with legs, not legs, arms, whatever. And then you would kind of see how they would function in life. You would just talk to each other and see how they did things, and there was always unique, and there's so many unique people out there in this world. But these people in the hospital are kind of little, they're on the further end of life, and you just hear their stories, and it's always amazing to hear what they have to say. And it was just so unique situations and what they accomplished in their life despite their situations, and all these things, how they went about life. And I always got used to it. I took it for granted when I was at the hospital, thinking there's people like that all the time, because when you're always in the hospital, your mind and your life just evolves around that, and you forget that some of these things were actually unique, and that's not something that you're gonna see outside of that little bubble that you were kind of born in. And so I really wish I could just talk to some of these people again, just to get some kind of encouragement to see how life's going with them, and to see it was just so interesting. Whereas when you talk to people who are not disabled, it's nothing, nothing against them or anything like that, nothing, living a regular life, but you just kind of like realize, okay, this is a different world. And the last thing I want to talk about was that in the hospital, there's always somebody that had it worse than you. And I know it's kind of like weird, comparing yourself to somebody, thinking that they have it worse than you. But what it did, it gave you like a reference point. So like for example, I remember one time in the hospital, I was kind of like really sad about how I looked, my face, and then I was next to the burn unit, and or the burn patients, and so I kind of went up in the elevator going to where I was going to talk to one of the doctors about my face or something like that. And so I go up in the elevator. I'm kind of feeling sad how I look, and kind of wanting to have the surgery, hoping I get it. And then when the door opens in the elevator, I go up I go up one story. The door opens, and then I see one of the burn patients coming out, and his face was all burned, and he was trying to cover it up with a hat, and he was trying to just looking down, but he was a lot taller than me, so I could see his face, and and that kind of like like checked me, it humbled me, where I'm like, okay, you know what, I may be going through what I'm going through, but then there's this guy who's having it a lot worse, and also sometimes you can not that you shouldn't complain and that these things are legit things that you're going through, but it really kind of put things in perspective. And so like when I kind of like was tired, my legs were hurting or something like that, and not that the pain wasn't you know there, or that I should complain, but when you see somebody with no legs and you see somebody in a wheelchair, you kind of realize, okay, you know what, I need to kind of settle down, do what I gotta do so that I can start walking again, normally, or to the best of my ability. And I gotta appreciate the legs that I have right now, you know, and just it goes to a certain point. It's kind of really extreme. Obviously, you have if you have it bad, you have it bad. But it was really good as far as for looking at where you were at and where you could be. So sometimes you kind of wish you were out of the hospital, and then you see somebody that's been there for months. You're like, oh man, I'm only gonna be here for a week. I'm fine. And so it was really a humbling experience, and that's kind of what I mean about that. As far as meeting people that had it worse than you, is that it was a real humbling experience, day in day out. So whatever something you had to complain about, and you saw somebody in that worse position, it really checked you. You're like, okay, I'm acting like my pain's from like say 110. I'm acting like my pain's a 10. Beyond reality, it's like a 6 or 7. So that's all. That's all I want to talk about. Those are the things I do miss about the hospital was the unique people, the order, and that you always had a reference in how bad you had it in life. Thanks for watching this video. Bye.